the Mariners, our team, sign a Japanese all-star. Let's talk about it. Before we dive all the way in, the Mariners, our team, sign all-star Japanese pitcher Shintaro Fujinami. Did you think I was going to say Roki Sasaki?
Well, you would hope for something like that, but I knew that wasn't the case because I read news.
We're a couple days late. I mean, my clickbait is a couple days late, and minor league deal for Fujinami. So
Same for Roki,
yeah, well,
who
not a minor league deal, international, right?
if we are your source of news,
Mm-hmm.
which, help there's help on the way. Roki signs with the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Shocker. I know
Yeah,
you were waiting for us to break that news.
yeah.
Uh, Here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
I saw posted from the 3-0 Take, fun little baseball channel.
Mm-hmm.
Check them out. What's worse for baseball? Owners that spend ridiculous amounts of money, or owners that don't spend money?
I, th- I mean, was this a rhetorical question? Because I think
No.
I think this is not even close. It's not even close. The worst is owners that don't spend. So we talk about a salary cap. I don't really know how, if I don't know enough about the economics of baseball to say salary cap would or wouldn't work. I would like to see a salary floor. I think most teams are getting, their payrolls are over 100 million, but that's not enough in today's game to have $100 million payroll. And so I don't think there's even a question here. I mean,
No question at all. Well,
no.
here's
What?
my question about your no question.
Yeah.
Is that only problematic because of the owners that overspend, that go nuts?
That it creates a problem of the underspending.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, let's say, because
yeah. Say that more.
baseball has like a luxury tax number that's,
Yeah.
kind of ish salary cap esque. Okay.
Well, you pay through the
Right.
nose
Yeah.
to go over that. Yeah. Okay.
Right. But it's not literally a cap. You can
No.
spend above the cap. So,
Mm-hmm.
but let's say that teams
Mm-hmm.
stayed under the
Under
luxury
that.
tax number, would you have the same take?
Um, yeah.
Would it be problematic
For
underspending?
owner underspending.
Yeah.
Do you mean it would still be a problem?
Yeah.
Do I think it would do I
Yeah.
think the issue would persist? Is that what your question is?
And would it
Basically,
would it
would the Mariners still, like, let's say their number is 140 million.
mhm.
If the Mets didn't go over the luxury tax, if they stayed under, would the Mariners payroll still be 140 million? Is that what you're asking, basically?
I'm asking, would it, because the question is about the game.
Yeah.
What's better or worse for the game? So
Hmm.
if everyone stayed under the luxury tax,
Hmm.
would it keep the competition closer? So even if you had lower spending teams, like the gap between what the Mariners and the Dodgers spend right now is enormous. But if the luxury tax number was upheld and the
Hmm.
gap was a couple hundred million instead of like, 700, 800 million.
Mhm.
I'm curious if that would be the same type of issue. Like there might be a little more, um, the teams might be closer in terms of competition because you can't just go spend $1 billion.
I mean, yes, but like with Shohei's contract, he's taking 2 million a year, and there's like a little bit, there's more than that that's attached, but he's getting effectively 70 million AAV, but that's not getting, it's not 70 million credited um, to the luxury tax. So, or to their payroll. So, this is sort of a very complex question, because there's more to it there. Um, it's hard to say. I mean, in theory, yes, because the you can't afford to buy that extra. You hit that cap, and you can't afford to buy that extra player, so he's going to get signed somewhere else. My feeling would be more that it would depress salaries more than it would affect um, more than it would affect the sort of, so a disparity would be smaller, but I think because of depressed salaries, not because the Mariners are some more generous.
Yeah. I don't think, yeah, the Mariners wouldn't get more generous.
Mm-hmm.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
So,
And
Aaron, we're
you
talking
tease.
about Roki. We're talking about the Mariners. Of
Mhm.
course, that's not a match that's going to happen this year.
No.
And you threw out the question, what is meaningful?
Mm-hmm.
Is this conversation even meaningful?
The Roki conversation.
Any of it, Aaron?
Well, I don't know about that. I thought I mostly want to talk about Roki because I thought it would be funny to talk about Shintaro Fujinami signing
Yeah.
a minor league deal with the Mariners, and pretending to fake out people who, if they have been not under a rock, know what's going on in the
Hmm.
baseball world. So, um, but I'm a bit fired up here, Adam, because we had a conversation last week about some comments made in a book about the difference between the hobby side and the game, and like what counts, what's meaningful. So I got a book from our dad. It's called Shine the Light. It's a good book. It's talking about Sandlot baseball, which again, if you've watched us for any amount of time, you know that I love Sandlot baseball. My version of Sandlot baseball is different than this version. This has more structure to it. It's still very chill, laid back, um, but they have teams, and it's a big deal. This is in Austin, Texas, and it's a whole subculture. But while I'm not going to subscribe to their version of Sandlot baseball, I think what they're doing is great. But I came in chapter 19, and I read this statement right out of the gates, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And so
Oh, okay.
I want your take um, on this. And so here's where we're going. Okay, it says part of being on a Sandlot baseball team is not only playing, but trying to get people to come watch you play. The idea is to create a mini event around each game so that fans can enjoy it and help build something meaningful. Off track. Adam, I read this. We're talking about Sandlot baseball. We're talking about guys getting together, throwing a team together to just go out and hit the ball around. And here we are. It's not just to play, but to get people to come to watch you play so that it's something meaningful.
You
Am
can
I
build something meaningful.
am I missing something here? I'm fired up because why why does it require people to come and watch you play to be meaningful?
Well, is that I'm wondering about the context. Because if are
Hmm.
they talking about meaningful in terms of business or trying to run it? Like, because you said this thing was like a league deal.
It's a league, but it's like, hey, like we'll get a roster with like 60 guys. Hey, we got a game, and they try to tie in like some charity and people that are playing on the teams own businesses. Some maybe bring a food truck or something. So they do make like an event. Um, but what, like, to me, why do those things, like, why can't it just be that? Like, if Fred owns a food truck and he wants to bring the food truck, cool. But if I don't have a guy, if I don't have a Fred on my team with a food truck, we got to manufacture a food truck. We like it has to, like, people have to come for it to be meaningful. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Well, this is where I think everybody's individual context matters because they're
Hmm.
in in that person's mind who's writing that.
Hmm.
There's a definition of what is meaningful,
Yep.
and I don't, and I'm sort of like picking up from that there's like a bottom line money something or rather behind that to make it meaningful. And so um is that what it should be?
Well,
I don't know, it
in
doesn't
this
have
case,
to be that, but in this case that's what it is to this guy.
yeah. Well, in this case, I don't think there's not money. It's not like they're charging admission.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like nobody's making money. Like this isn't like Savannah Bananas where they're trying to make a profitable
Yeah.
uh, enterprise. Um, but like I just think about when, like, for my birthday, I just invited a bunch of my friends and we just go play. There are no fans, zero.
Mm-hmm.
And like, do, does that make? I mean, again, like you were, I think what you're saying is important, that the context matters and what's meaningful to one person is another. I think the way that I would frame this question is, if their team showed up to play and nobody came except the players, would they still play? Is it truly like, it gets me all riled up? I'm all being tough on. I'm being a little harsh on this guy, but like, is it really because you love the game, or is it, and you don't really, it doesn't really matter what this all extra, the periphery stuff is, or do you need the periphery stuff in order for the game to matter?
Wow, you're asking some interesting questions here, because here's something I'm wondering about is, okay, we're going to build up to this a little bit. Okay,
Okay.
we're going Field of Dreams movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, Shoeless Joe
Mm-hmm.
in the movie, played by Ray Liotta. Well done. He talks about, I'd play to this game for nothing. He talks about the the feel of the grass under his feet,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the way the crowd cheers when a ball is hit deep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He said, I'd have played the game for nothing. Okay. For nothing in terms of money, but it sounds like there's something about the way the game is played to him that makes it meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
It's played on grass and not dirt. It's
Mm-hmm.
played in front of fans who cheer when the ball is hit deep. And so I'm wondering if part of the experience for this person is sort of like that. You got fans,
Mm-hmm.
you got the cheering, you got the heckling, you got whatever it is
Mm-hmm.
that makes it a complete baseball experience.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Does everybody need all those things? No.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe if you were to sit down with Shoeless Joe Jackson's character in that movie and you said, well, what if you could play,
Mm-hmm.
but there was no grass on the field? Would you still play? He'd probably say yes, but
Mm-hmm.
there's something to it that creates some kind of extra meaning, this context, this nuance to what we love
Mm-hmm.
about the game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really well said. And at, you know, I came out a ball of fire here. I'll back it off a little bit here. I mean, I feel like I don't really get fired up very much. We need to get fired up a little bit here. Um, the thing that I do appreciate is just that within that is like it really created a sense of community where everybody's kind of bought in to caring for each other. I mean, he talks about it throughout the book. It's like it's more than just like some guys that hang. It's more than like your beer league softball team where the only interaction you have with them is when you show up on your game on Thursday night. It's like these guys care for each other. They're helping each other's business. Somebody's got a problem. They're helping each other out. Like it becomes a full community. So I don't want to pretend like that's somehow devoid of where he's at, because that is a real component here. So I'm not trying to get so super overcritical here. I think it's just you make a great point is that that we all have different definitions of what's meaningful, and like um, for me, um, it's getting together with people and just playing the game. I need fans and that kind of thing. It's funny. I've been thinking about like dreams and goals and aspirations. And during the summer, I like to do sandlot baseball with the kids. And sometimes it can be hard to get a field because you have other baseball leagues and things going on. It's hard to get on a field. So part of me was like, man, how cool would it be if I could like raise money, have a piece of land, build my own field, and we wouldn't have to worry about that. Kids can come play anytime they want. The field's open. It's just like it's a place for people to come and have community. And then I was like, well, who's going to take care of that field? I don't have time for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I like the idea of that as long as I don't have to take care of it because I don't have time for it. In one sense, it's like I'd love to in one regard, but in another regard, it's like my current life and kids and all. Like, I don't have time for that. I can't spend an entire Saturday every Saturday making the field nice. So, sorry, that got a little off, a little bit of a tangent there, but um, yeah, when I think Sandlot baseball, I think the Sandlot, the movie,
Mm-hmm.
kids going out, no fans, no team, just playing workout, just hitting the ball, fielding the ball, throw to second, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. Even within that, though, you're talking about conditions for meaningful sandlot baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you showed up
Mm-hmm.
and no kids showed up,
Mm-hmm.
is that meaningful sandlot baseball? What
I
if what if one kid showed up?
so I mean, if you're asking me personally,
Yeah.
so when we do Sandlot baseball, I show up early to kind of get things ready, get the bases
Yeah.
out there. And do you know what I do? I throw the ball against the backstop
Mm-hmm.
and I throw the ball up in the air and I hit it in the outfield and then I go get it and I
Yeah.
hit it back.
Yeah.
It does not matter to me. I mean, I want the kids to show up because I want to see them having a good time. But honestly, if zero kids showed up, I would spend I'd probably go home early and spend time with my family. Um, but if I didn't have to, if I had that hour blocked out and zero kids showed up, I would spend the better part of an hour doing baseball things by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I mean, that's me. So, I mean, I'm perhaps I'm a weirdo, but I'm introverted. I don't mind spending the time by myself. So take shots if you must.
No shots. It changes the experience though, based on
Yeah.
who's there and how many people are. And I imagine perhaps, let's say you show up and you're expecting people to be there and no one shows up. And so you do that. You play by yourself. And say, hey, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then you plan another one and no one shows up, and you plan another one and no one shows up, and another and another. After a
Mm-hmm.
certain amount of time, you probably also might not show up.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
So then, even in this example, a meaningful sandlot game
Mm-hmm.
involves something, you know.
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you correctly, it's sort of this idea that, like, if you run that all the way down, we all have an expectation, or sort of like a definition of, at some point we throw in the towel on the thing, and it ceases to be something that we're going to spend time on. It ceases to be something that is meaningful enough to continue if certain conditions are not met. Is that kind of what you're saying, essentially?
Yeah, the like everybody, and we're just talking baseball here, but when we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
what is a meaningful baseball experience, everybody has some sort of definition
Mm-hmm.
um, of what that is, and that there are minimum conditions and perhaps maximum conditions as well. But at a minimum, you got to have this, this, and this for it to be a meaningful baseball experience. And without being in the mind, going back to the book and the author,
Mm-hmm.
without being in that person's mind, there's something happening there, that there's a minimum condition that makes it meaningful or not. That is there's like more to it than what makes it meaningful to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think if I were to kind of put the context of the book in there, it's this development of community. Like, if the baseball game ceases to be an avenue where community is built and grows, that's beyond just the scope of that team, then um, then for a lot of those players, it may no longer be something that's worth their time, and not because they don't care, but they want to make it. May be that the community aspect of it is far more important than the baseball aspect of it. Which, for me, I think I would say, as much as I really enjoy the baseball sandlot thing, I would say much the same as, like, because when we get together to play sandlot baseball, I don't care how good anybody is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just want my friends there, or I want the kids there. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, every kid when we play is welcome. It doesn't matter if they're 5 years old and never played before. You know, it does not matter. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the idea is to create an environment where people are included and welcomed and valued exactly where they are. And like that's sort of the message that, both on the adult and the kid side of things, is that, like, it doesn't matter if you're all-star or you're beginner. Like, you're valued and you're welcome in this community, and sort of that's the what I'm wanting to communicate. And I think, especially on the adult side, um, I'm just convinced that there was actually a really great quote in this. He talks about in this book. I'm going to butcher it, if maybe I can find it real quick, but I'm going to butcher it, probably. Oh, here we go. Right out of this, George Bernard Shaw. We don't stop playing because we grow old. You know the second half?
We something like we grow old because we stop playing.
We grow old because we stop playing.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of that. I'm convinced that as adults, we get, I mean, we all have busy lives. We have kids, we have all thing, we have all the stuff, work and everything else. And we stop having fun. Like we think, like, I mean, it's fine to watch football games, sports. I'll watch baseball games, but to go outside to do something that you're not very good at, everybody's laughing and having a great time. We're playing and we're doing the thing. Like we just don't do that. Adults don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's part of it for me is I think we just don't have enough opportunities in our lives to just have fun and to be a kid at heart again. And so that's part of it for me as well.
Yeah, it's a great avenue for you to keep that joyful, youthful experience.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Which, is one of those things again, like this show is another example of that. I mean, by the numbers, we should just quit this thing, bro. um, but there's something about the banter, the just having fun with it, and I mean, we get one comment a month or so, and that comment is just it's so fun to interact with that, like, and just that one comment, and for us to talk about this to me is invigorating in large part because it's a way for you and I to stay connected and to have fun bantering about baseball and life and meaning and all of this stuff that comes with it.
Yeah, that's the gold right there. It's that little bit like it doesn't for us, it doesn't take a lot
Mm-mm.
to fuel that connection for um the things that help us feel like we're having fun. That's
Mm-hmm.
playful, that's joyful. And so we enjoy that. We appreciate it very much. And Aaron, in the spirit of doing joyful, youthful things,
Yeah,
you're gonna be ripping a pack.
I am,
What?
but I am, but before we do that, you had some polls today that I think some people would want to see, and if we got any nerds out there on the 90 Donruss
Okay,
Diamond Kings.
yeah, I've got a whole box of 1990 Donruss.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fun. There's a lot of nostalgia there. Couple of fun ones. You got to go the Griffey second year card. Fun
Mm-hmm.
one. But here's a little learning I did today. I noticed on the Nolan Ryan, I
Mm-hmm.
thought, it got a Donruss has always been known for the Diamond Kings
Mm-hmm.
cards. See the Diamond Kings right there on the Ed Whitson Diamond Kings. The Nolan Ryan, I had always thought was
You just
just
assume this is Diamond Kings.
Diamond Kings, but look, zoom it in.
Mm-hmm.
Donruss King of Kings. So
Mm-hmm.
to I go to the checklist. Sure enough,
Mm-hmm.
Nolan Ryan, King of Kings, the only King of Kings in the set.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, it's funny because Nolan Ryan had an incredible career. I think by a lot of metrics, he wasn't necessarily the best pitcher that ever lived, but I think he did it for so long and he was so great for so long. Yeah, I mean, incredible and fun little factoid. Adam and I
Yeah,
have had. I mean, we haven't been like studying these cards meticulously, but we've seen this card over and over and over again. Never seen it. Never seen it.
never saw it.
Never saw it. So I'm going to open I'm gonna go a little new school. I'm going Tops Heritage 2024, and we're gonna see what we get. Um, either feel like we get a little bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, well, and these are fun because you get the old style card with the new
Mm-hmm.
players. Little
Yeah,
combo.
you do. So we're going. We're starting off. We'll go Luis Robert.
Mm-hmm.
A little play. You know, see what's gonna come in. Here we go. We got a All Star Cup. Andrew Abbott, Stephen Kwan,
Yeah.
um, rookie card, Henry Davis of the Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
He could turn into a player one day. Catcher, Giants. He just signed with somebody else. I don't know who, but Blake Sable. Mariners fans hate this guy. Will Benson stepped on Ty France. Andrew Benintendi. New Age Performers, Bo Bichette. And we're going to finish it off with a Keybert Ruiz. So, oh, nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
So, but no Mariners, just a guy that the Mariners hate.
Yeah. But the thing to perhaps write home about
Mm-hmm.
is the fun experience.
Yeah. Yeah. This, I mean, we could go rabbit trail on this thing for years. Obviously, we loved pulling the Griffey. That was the hit. Frank Thomas, Cal Ripken, the stars of the game. We love to get those in any pack that we open. But all of the cards count. And
Yeah.
when we would make our lineups to go hit at the lot down the street, there was no description. It's not like you pulled, it's not like you pull Will Benson. You're like, I don't like Will Benson. Repull. No, you pull him. He's on the roster. That's how it
Yep.
goes.
Yep.
So, I mean, look, we like our stars just the same as everybody else. But this this is what makes a hobby for us. I mean, we go back to the meaningful thing. This is why like our collection is the way that is. I couldn't imagine selling it. I couldn't imagine getting rid of it. I don't know what we're going to do with it long term, but decision for another day.
Yeah. Yeah. Because really, the sentimental value
Mm-hmm.
far outpaces the financial value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the
Yes. The financial value is not there.
yeah.
Rest assured.
So this goes back to wrap this show talking about meaning. That's
Mm-hmm.
meaningful to us. Would that
Mm-hmm.
be meaningful to a card shop trying to sustain a business? Absolutely
Absolutely
not.
not. Yeah.
But
False.
that's what's meaningful to you and me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is that I think ultimately what you're trying to get to is that our culture wants to say like it it only counts as meaningful. Like for example, the Roki Sasaki, we go all the way back to that whole thing. It only means something if you win the World Series. That's it. So it does not nothing else matters unless you win the World Series. And we take that into it doesn't count unless you're the best business, and it doesn't count unless you're the best this and all this kind of stuff. And that's untrue. That is simply not true. At the end of the day, like making a meaningful impact in each other's lives, caring for the people around you matters more than winning whatever thing you're trying to win. Well, folks, I've rambled too long. I got excited. And this was fun for me to talk about. I feel like this is the first time I really I went for it. So, Adam, thanks for bringing me back down to earth. Always have fun conversation. Any last words?
Just for our fan out there that's watching, still hanging on this long.
Mm-hmm.
What is your requirement of meaningful baseball experience? Do you got to be in the stadium with 50,000, or could you just be standing alone on that sandlot hitting balls by yourself? Let us
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching. We love interacting with your comments, so drop them below. With that, we'll be back at it again here soon.